You're watching Watch This. I'm CJ Johnson. We're talking with Luke Eve. So, Low Life won all these awards. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Got to do something out of that.
Yep.
Now you're putting to bed your new web series, which is called High Life.
Yes. So
is it a sequel?
No, it's funny because we, like, Low Life had such a good life, I guess, that a few people had approached me to maybe develop it as something further or to do a second series. And I sort of felt like it was a self-contained one-off.
Yeah.
Which was maybe stupid because I had opportunities to maybe develop it further. But what I thought could be interesting is developing a companion series, I guess. And I guess Low Life was a black comedy about depression. And so then I thought, well, how about a series about bipolar? And so, you know, Low Life again was
to the depression.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Low Life was about a 35-year-old guy living in LA, and then I thought it would be really interesting to sort of, you know, polar opposites, I guess.
Yeah.
And get like a 16-year-old girl living in Sydney, experiencing her first bout of mania.
Right.
So, and then from that I was able to attract Stephen Fry. Because he was a fan of Low Life and he had tweeted about it, which was great. The Stephen Fry,
so
which was,
great.
you know, so he tweeted to his, 14 billion followers or something. It was, I think it's 12 million, but
14 billion would be a couple of planet Earths.
Yeah, it'd be a couple of planet Earths, but it was extensive nonetheless, and it was great for us. And so I thought, well, you know, he's been very public about his own battles with bipolar and depression, and
so
he
loves tech.
And he loves tech, and so I went to him and you know, asked if he would be involved, and then he's come on board as an EP. So
that's so great.
And then that helped us then get some pre-sales out of France and get some money there, and then we got the rest out of Screen Australia. So it's
and
been
that's
good.
Fantastic, because like the web series we looked at in the last episode, Bruce.
Yes.
That is essentially fully funded, I understand, by Film Victoria and Screen Australia.
Yep.
And so that's the thing about web series at the moment with progressive countries such as ours that still fund screen content, that they are seeing the web series as the future. They're leaning forward into it and they're funding them.
We're actually one of the few countries around the world that is actually funding online or digital series.
That's great.
Incredibly lucky. So
that's great. So how much of your budget came from government funding? Yeah,
good question. So we so there's a fund as part of Screen Australia called the Mutli-Platform Fund.
Yes.
And we received about 250,000 out of there.
Great.
And then the rest has been sort of cobbled together from pre-sales in France and then some private money. So, you know, we went from Low Life having a budget of sort of $20,000, which was predominantly Kickstarter raised, to now having a budget of just over $500,000 Australian dollars. So that's been
$500,000.
Yeah, which has been good. And so when I raised that money as well, I sat back and went, "Oh, this is going to be great." But
you literally rubbed your hands.
I literally rubbed my hands.
Here comes my money.
But it was like filming in Australia is so expensive. You know, like it's like High Life is double the length, so it's like it's an hour, and I've discovered,
it's an hour.
Yeah, it's an hour long.
So how many episodes?
So still only 6, but it's about 10 minutes each.
Much longer episodes.
Yeah, and so bigger sort of story.
And you shot it like a proper film.
Yeah, we had a big crew, but we shot 60 minutes worth of content, but in 10 days. So it was incredibly fast, like a little stressful, but. I discovered that $500,000 actually doesn't go that far shooting in Sydney. I think, a standard hour of television now in this country costs $1 million. So we were essentially trying to achieve the same thing for half the budget.
Right.
But it was still, so my kind of like doing this turned into like crying into my soup. But
which just shows you manic depression.
Exactly.
Like,
I had to hire, and then But it was still nice to have that kind of budget to be able to pay, good cast, good crew. Like it was a blast.
They say that films always cost your budget, right? Like if you've got $500,000, you're like, you're still like tiny. They're never quite enough. You're always behind. So you got Odessa Young, who I knew from when I saw The Daughter. I identified Odessa Young as the next big thing. I was not alone. I had written on my, I shouldn't say that yet because we haven't voted, but the critics circle that I belong to, I decided that I was going to vote for her for Best Actress, and she won Best Actress at the AACTA Awards the other night for The Daughter.
I was so thrilled.
At age 18 or something.
She's 18,
So what a coup.
I know, we were very lucky. Like I had, again, like you, I'd seen The Daughter and was just completely blown away
she's astonishing.
by her performance.
She's fully formed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And had spoken to, we had a casting director on, Kirsty McGregor. And they had, McGregor's casting had basically said, look, you've got to look at Odessa, and I'd already seen The Daughter and then checked out some more of her short films and some other things, and was instantly like, okay, she's the person. And casting for us was, it's always important, but for us it was like really important. She's in every scene. And I think portraying mental health sometimes on screen can be really delicate, and it can either be too earnest or it can be really hokey. And so we were really careful about the tone we were going for. And she was just extraordinary, like the most gifted actress I've ever worked with.
And you're also working, I have gathered, with one of your favorite musical artists, Sarah Blasko.
Yeah, so on top of getting Odessa and Stephen, I contacted Sarah thinking that she would be the sort of perfect fit, I guess, for... At first, I just wrote to her and said, would she be interested in providing a song? And she said, look, the subject matter sounds great. Maybe we could talk about doing something a little more extensive. So
and you were like, yeah.
I know, again, I was like, the highs and lows. So I was like, look, I would be thrilled. So I, sent her the script and she really responded, and then we got together, and lucky enough now that she's doing the full score, which is great.
I mean, this is great. You've essentially, by moving to Hollywood and being told by Hollywood types that as a calling card you should make a web series, you have now found yourself making these professionally and getting these proper budgets and being able to utilize these amazing artists that you've wanted to work with for years, and now this is your platform. You're really riding this thing.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate. I guess I came from traditional sort of trajectory of making shorts
and
went to film school, did shorts, then started doing some television. And then, my friends will, take the piss. I keep talking about Tropfest, but
but see, it's interesting that like making your web series ended up being much more important for your creative freedom than winning Tropfest.
Yeah, I think at the time Tropfest was amazing for me. It opened doors and really kind of, positioned me as a director, I guess, and it got me commercials work and things like that. So they're all important kind of stepping stones. But I think the web series in particular has been like really amazing for me, that I was able to then come back and get funding. And I've been able to, I guess, because I've been traveling and going to different festivals, I've struck up some relationships with broadcasters and platforms around the world. So I've got another series that I want to work on next year where money's coming out of the US, and then another one. Well, it's funny you mention that. We are going to work on midlife. That is a pitch. Of course I am. I've got to milk this baby. So that'll be the last one, I promise. But there's a couple of other series that are being funded out of the US and out of Europe. So
that's fantastic.
Which is great. And
because every time you go to these festivals too, you are now a face of an award-winning.
Yeah,
you're in the mix. You're
helps.
in the international mix of web series creation.
Yeah. And I still want to make films, and I've got those goals still, but in the meantime, being able to get sort of large budgets and make something that is almost feature length and essentially have full creative control is kind of a dream come true.
I fully expect Midlife to be on HBO.
Awesome.
Where you stream to watch that, watch this, and I'll dive down through this hairy flesh and ever-running bloodstream.